So it's been a few weeks now, maybe even a little more than a month actually, since I did the video, My Acans Are Covered in Algae, and I wanted to do an update to that video and show kind of how things are coming. Now, the algae is still there. You can still see remnants of the algae, like you can see it's in here. There's a lot of it up in here. We'll get to this coral in just a second actually. And you can see it kind of floating around, but it's looking much less vibrant, much less healthy. As a matter of fact, if you look right here, you can see that's an urchin. It's covered in algae. I don't know if they eat it or just rip it up, but either way, I love it and I want more of them. But the one thing that's dramatically better is that the coral's health has improved by leaps and bounds. You can see that I'm starting to get some of the vibrant color back on the acans, which is really good. The the hammers have really puffed back up. This guy, you couldn't see any color at all in him in the last video, as I recall, but now he's getting his greens and his oranges and his vibrancy back. You can see I'm starting to get some green in the mushrooms, although those mushrooms really need to not be there, if I'm being honest. This guy's got better polyp extension. This guy, I don't even think was open in the previous video. These guys are actually supposed to be Holy Grail micromucus. But you can see all that's left is green. I'm hoping the light will bring some of that color back. And this was one guy that I highlighted before. You can see I'm starting to get the orange back with the red, which is really exciting. This is a very cool, very vibrant coral. This guy is just absolutely deepening, and the color is on fire. I love how poofy Octospawn is here. Everything is just kind of improving. Some things still have a ways to go. But what I'm finding now is that the tank is kind of shifting, if you know what I mean, back to being something that's favoring the corals. Look at that guy right in the center. He is such a neat coral, but in the last video, it was just almost bleached. Like, it had none of that green and that blue and that red. That guy hung around. I did lose some things, obviously, with the light issue. My candy cane is just looking terrible. I had a couple of very low light SPS in here that I was curious if they would color up in a lower light tank, and they did not make it through the lighting debacle. But most other things did. These guys down here are doing amazing. This guy's just rooted right in there. Love these mushrooms. Everybody needs a Duncan. And more acans over here. These guys have really started to color up. Look how deep that green is. I really wish the one in my 300 looked as good. Coming back to this bird's nest right here. So this used to be a much larger colony, and what had happened to it was exactly what happened to the one on the other side. I'm gonna go over there to show that again. Oh, actually, while I'm on my way, let me show you this. So the lighting has been changed to a pair of AI blades. And these mounts here, I made myself, designed and 3D printed. There's one that's blocky on the end like this, and then the other end has relief for the cords. I know you can't see this very well. Maybe I will post a picture of them sitting out over this part of the video. But then I just kind of screwed them through with some M4, and then on the other end, M4 screws. The other end I just used wood screws, and mounted these on there nice and secure. It's even got this little plastic thing. I'm going to include the file in the description for making these mounts, because I know they don't make any end mounts for AI blades yet. And so if you guys want to go and try these out, they can mount this way or the other way. Then you can download them on Thingiverse and print your own. It'd be pretty cool. I also cut this hole in the top. So if you recall the last video, this was all rusted, this was all rusted, these things were rusted through, and I had a whole bunch of rust here. I have not repainted the canopy yet, but I did remove all of that rust, and I've replaced this hardware, and I vented the top real well so that we will not have a repeat of that, hopefully. If we do, I'll vent more, or possibly, you know, just find another way to mount them without the top. But so far, I haven't seen any condensation, which is really good. Anyways, moving on. So the bird's nest I was alluding to earlier, this bird's nest, as you can see, is now an algae nest. What had happened, as you might expect, when the lighting had failed, the inside of this bird's nest wasn't doing well and it died off. And so that was fresh material for algae to anchor in and start growing, and boy did it ever, it just took off. And the problem is you can't really get a hermit crab in there to clean it. You can't get snails in there. That algae is pretty safe. And so it's just growing out and smothering the coral. Now, there are a few different ways to deal with this, but honestly, the most effective way I found in my time in the hobby is to simply cut off the live parts of the coral and make a new little bush of coral and let it grow back out again. Green's bird's nest grows so super fast. I don't see any issue with that. I know it'll be back to its size very quickly, probably faster than I want, to be honest with you. And that is what I have already done over here, because this one was just an algae mess, much worse than the other side, actually. And so I just took a few pieces. This was a slightly smaller colony. Took a few pieces and stuck it back there, and there you have it. It'll grow together, it'll grow out, and turn into a colony again. This guy, you can see how close he is to the water. That might not be too long before he needs a good chop. This is a really difficult kind of chop, actually. Have you ever cut one of these? They are the densest corals. Like, getting a pair of coral cutters through one of those is just, you're a lot better off with a Dremel, but I haven't seen a waterproof Dremel yet, unfortunately. Another weird thing that's happened is, do you see how this is that branching green star polyps? The one that doesn't really encrust on the rock, which is super cool because it's bright and it's flowing and it's great in the back of the tank, and it doesn't, you know, just consume the reef over time. The green hair algae, which I've never seen this before, is actually growing on it, like actually coming out of the center of the branch. So not sure what I'm going to do there yet, but we'll figure it out. Anyways, that is the update. Kind of a short video here. Man, I wish that coral would come out looking as good on this video as it does in person. It is just such a neat blend of color, like a tie-dye, with little dots there. Anyways, like I said, that is the update. And, you know, like and subscribe. And when this moves a little bit farther along, probably another couple of weeks or a month, I'll share with you guys how it's doing.